Well, the day has arrived. It is make or break as far as Partick Thistle and Championship survival is concerned. A draw or a victory this afternoon will be more than enough to secure our place in the Championship next season. Even a defeat will be fine if Alloa don't win at Ayr. Tension has been building for the last 7 days after last week's 2-1 loss to Ayr United. Let's see what happens this afternoon on the plastic pitch here at Dumfries. Thistle have recorded 2 wins against Queen of the South at Firhill, but despite playing really well in the game here earlier on in the season, it was Queen of the South who won by a Stephen Dobie goal to nil. And sadly for Thistle, Dobie returns to the Queen of the South side. We'll go through that in a moment. As far as Thistle are concerned, it's a change of shape, but a team designed certainly to come away with all 3 points. On the positive side, Scott MacDonald is back from injury, so he definitely plays. And the Thistle side is Jamie Snedden in goal, a back three of Jack McMillan, Sean McGinty and Stephen Anderson. The wing backs are Christy Elliott and James Penrice. In the middle of the park we'll be looking to the likes of Stuart Bannigan to perform the job alongside Shea Gordon. Blair Spittle will play just in front, leaving a front two of Lewis Mansell and Scott MacDonald. That hopefully will be the team that does the job. As I said, a point will do, but the team will be all out to win the fixture. On the bench, should it all not be going to plan, goalkeeper Connor Hazard, joined by Chris Doolan, Gary Harkins, Craig Slater, Aidan Fitzpatrick, Joe Carville and Stephen Saunders. I mentioned earlier that Stephen Dobie plays in the Queen of the South. It sees a change of goalkeeper, Jack Layfield back in place of Dennis Mehmet. Then it's Scott Mercer, Jordan Marshall, Michael Doyle, Andy Stirling, Kyle Jacobs, Josh Todd, Stephen Dobie, Nicky Lowe, Lyndon Dykes and Barry Maguire. Joining Mehmet in the bench are Callum Fordyce, Darren Brownlee, Fraser Aird, Ian McGrath, Conor Murray and Ian Wilson. If we could have handpicked a referee not to get for today's game, it would have been Andrew Dallas. Andrew Dallas in charge of this afternoon's proceedings. He of course was the man that sent off Gary Harkins earlier on in the campaign in a very low point for Thistle in a 1-1 draw against Falkirk. Can the Jags do it? Well, it's all or nothing this afternoon. Please join us as we go head to head with Queen of the South in this vital SPFL Championship fixture. Conor Murray and Ian Wilson. Referee is Andrew Dallas. The game is underway. Elliott gets a header forward from the long ball looking for Mansell. It's well defended by Maguire, and Thistle win the first throw-in of the game right down by the Queen's corner flag, and that was just putting the ball in an area and just testing the mental fortitude of the Queen of the South players. Yeah, that's what I speak about with Lewis Mansell. He's going to do a bit more running and chasing than Scott MacDonald and Chris Doolan can. He's just going to go all out. We've seen it in previous games. Ball into the box, doesn't fall nicely for the Thistle player. Up in the air it goes, and Mansell gets the... Well, unfortunately he's had a little clash with the goalkeeper, and Andrew Dallas, who was giving play on, is now giving Lewis Mansell a mouthful after the goalkeeper has gone down injured. And this could be a real blow for Queen of the South, because they've just changed the goalkeeper from Mehmet to Layfield for this afternoon, and this looks as though it could be nasty right in the first minute. Well, as soon as he hit the ground, he was hit his ankle, I think it was, and I'm not sure whether it was the way he landed or whether it was Mansell actually landing on his ankle. But outside of Stephen Dobie coming back into the team, that was one of the big decisions, was whether you go with Dennis Mehmet, who's sort of coming in a short-term deal as a sort of stopgap in goals, with Alan Martin not up for selection, and then Layfield, a slightly less experienced player. But he's come in for today. It's a big day for him, and if it ends so soon, I'm sure he'll be very disappointed, but they do have that option of Mehmet off the bench. Well, there's still treatment for Layfield being distributed out on the pitch inside or just at the edge of his 6-yard box, but it does look a painful one. Nothing in the challenge. It's a ball he's entitled to go for, isn't it? Yeah, it was a clearance by I think it was possibly Stirling or Jacobs, who just completely sliced it up in the air, and Mansell just wanted to put a bit of pressure on Layfield as he went to catch it, and as I say, I'm not sure whether it was the way that the goalkeeper landed or whether Mansell actually made some contact between the feet, but he's back up now and he should be fine to carry on by the looks of things. It does, but he's not going to take the goal kick, which he's going to leave for the moment. It doesn't appear as though there's any significant worry on the Queen's bench, because nobody's beginning to look as though they're hurrying to replace him, but he does look in a bit of trouble, I've got to be honest, as the goal kick is taken. It's quite a decent one. Up goes McGinty with a very powerful header, tries to get it to McDonald, who of course had very cleverly put himself onside, knowing that there was a defender that had taken the the goal kick. Thistle harry and chase in the middle of the park. Queens still have it, played up towards Dobie but over his head, and Thistle just need to get a grip of it in the middle of the park. They don't do that because Anderson just launches it high up in the air. Mansell gets a lovely flick on Elliott. McDonald in chase of it. It is McDonald, lovely reverse pass to Christy Elliott, who's inside the box, goes it across, turned out for a corner, first Thistle corner of the game. Bruce Mansell doing particularly well to win that, but what was equally as important was the way Scott McDonald and Christy Elliott read what was going to happen, and they gave options, and all of a sudden Thistle were in the box.
Yeah, I don't think we even said anything to each other. They just sort of had a look and they knew exactly what they were going to do. Christy Elliott ran beyond him, and Scott McDonald with a lovely little reverse pass into him, and Christy just a bit unlucky that he couldn't quite get it to Mansell, who was making a good run into the box.
It's going to be a corner which James Penrice is going to take, the in-swinging left footer. Let's see what he does with it. He puts it into a decent position. A header comes towards goal, but Stephen Anderson will be penalised for a bit of climbing, and plus we have had a wee go at the referee. He's 100% right in that one.
Yeah, that was spot on. Anderson was leaning over to try and get a head on that ball, and just about did there. It was a good delivery from Penrice. The keeper was rooted to his spot towards the back post, just needed a little bit more on it so that Anderson didn't need to fill to get to it.
Keeper looks okay because he's taking the goal kick himself. It does look very sore. Yeah. I don't know if he's got a full game in him at the moment.
He's got straight out.
I think he's going to look at and see how that develops in the next 10 minutes. But if I were Thistle, I'd be harrying and chasing, getting that ball into the box as quickly as possible, putting some pressure on the goalkeeper. Here's Dobie, gets his first serious touch, plays it out of the left to Jordan Marshall, up to the halfway line. Shea Gordon tries to close him down. Marshall keeps it up the line, tries to keep it moving, gives the ball in to a very entertaining Josh Todd type of player, as you said, that can reach the highs and reach the lows, and a player that's certainly looking to try and move the ball there. Queens have it again, good closing down by McDonald, and they force the mistake, and Thistle will have a throw in midway inside our own half. Still 0-0 here at Palmerston. We're going to keep a close eye on what's happening at Ayr, or do we keep a close eye on what's happening at Ayr, or do we just ignore it until such times as perhaps we don't want to ignore it?
I'm not sure if we can really resist to just have a look, just to see if Ayr are 5-0 up or something like that. But
well, they're not. It's still 0-0.
Yeah.
The throw in taken quickly. Queens get it cleared. Chance for Dobie to challenge against McGinty, who looks very dominant, but it goes back out to Todd. Middle of the park, plays it out in the right. Still Queens have it, but not really going forward. Thistle doing well. There's going to be a point where Queens are going to have to attack because they've got to win the game. It's now back with Maguire. Maguire thinks about the ball back to the goalkeeper. McDonald closes him down, gets it to Marshall. Well played by Marshall, turns it back more central, but back to Marshall again on the left hand side, up the line, but Anderson reads it well and comes down, looks for Mansell. Mansell gets a wee head on it, doesn't quite find his man, but Spittle will pick up the loose ball for his first touch. Luckily gets it to Elliott, but will not complain. He plays it back to Jack McMillan. McMillan to Bannigan, back to McMillan, and Thistle try to find an opening again. They're just patience shown. We play by Mansell. Here is McMillan again. McMillan opens it right up, gets it through Bannigan, goes to McGinty. I'll tell you what, it'll be a strong contender for player of the month this month, and McGinty's coming charging forward. He's 35 yards out, he's on his right foot though, and switches it right across to Christy Elliott. On the right hand side, Elliott plays it into the middle, too deep, not enough men in, but coming in at the back post is Penrice. He'll get it outside the box though, plays it, tries to play it back, wins a throw in. Good play from Sean McGinty. He's become something of a specialist of the driving run since he came back into the side.
Yeah, he did it occasionally at the start of the season, but it was never a trademark of his. But I think maybe that Alloa game has spurred something in him where we had so much space to drive into, and he just towards the end of that first half started doing it. And since he's come back into the team, he's been one of our best performers. Didn't have his best game on Saturday, but prior to that he'd been pretty much impeccable in what he'd done.
Long ball from McGinty again, this time looking for Shea Gordon, who's got a bit of room, cuts it across for Mansell, doesn't get hold of it, and it's saved for the goalkeeper. First serious chance of the game. Fabulous ball across the pitch to Shea Gordon, who finds some space. He found Lewis Mansell, and Mansell does a lot of good things. That's what you want to do, but to his credit, Mansell's had a terrific start to the game.
Yeah, he's done very well. I spoke about the physicality, and that's exactly what he's done. He's just put himself about and got himself in the right areas in the box, and he found a really good position there.
Long ball from Bannigan trying to get Mansell in on the right hand side. He's near the corner flag, just tries to win the ball under a bit of pressure, plays it in, doesn't get hold of it, and eventually Ayr are able to be able to get it clear. Excuse me, McGinty steps in, plays the ball up, and it'll just be played straight out of play by Queen of the South. So this is positive start continues. I'm having a look at the commentary in the Ayr Alloa game, and it starts off corner Ayr, corner Ayr, corner Ayr, but nothing has come from corner Ayr.
Yeah.
Throw it to Thistle, taken down towards Mansell again, has to fight hard for the ball, doesn't win it, and Queen of the South thought they'd won it, but Thistle get the decision. Needless to say, not from the ref, but the assistant who gives that Thistle's way, and it's going to be taken by young fullback James Penrice, who must have been very close to winning the Player of the Year. I don't know if you knew the. I know you were telling us you knew the votes. Was he close to winning it?
He was. It was 2 different votes that we had on the website, one on Twitter, and he was very close on Twitter, slightly further away on the website, which is why Spittle just came out on top.
McMillan has it for the Jags. Plays it forward to Mansell, good strength, but he goes down at the edge of the box. May have been looking for a foul, but there was definitely no foul there. Queens get it clear. Bannigan should be able to intercept. Here is Bannigan, 15 yards inside the Queen's half to Spittle, who's actually played a lot deeper than I anticipated. Nice bit of play from Thistle. McDonald lays it off to Bannigan, gets it out on the left hand side to Penrice, back to Bannigan. Bannigan's going to think about giving it to Penrice, but opts to check back and then plays a very difficult ball that McMillan's done well to put it into an area, and it almost fell for either McDonald or Mansell, but the ball just skidded off the foot, and Queens have their first chance to come forward earlier. They'll just commit a wee foul, and there'll be a chance for Queens to take a little bit of the strain off, a little clip of the ankle. I think you might look at that as unlucky, but Christie knew what he was doing.
Yeah, he did that on purpose. I think it was actually quite a silly foul, because one of the positives of having a back five is that when someone's caught out, you have that back four sitting there, and Jack McMillan had just come across to cover him, so I don't think he needed to commit that foul, and I wouldn't be surprised if his next one gets him a yellow because of that.
And it's going to be a free kick to be taken by Marshall, 2 yards inside the Thistle half, well left of centre, looks for the run, well read by McMillan, but easily won by Lyndon Dykes. Gets it left to Todd. Todd tries to hold off Elliott, plays it inside, good delivery, picked out Nicky Lowe, eye taken off the ball by Marshall, so a little toe nipped in to take the ball off him. Queen of the South row, 20 yards from goal, their first real attempt to put some pressure on the Thistle goal. Marshall takes it, poor use of the ball, and it's a chance for Thistle to bring it clear. Bannigan plays it back to McGinty right on the edge of his own box, and it's a chance for McGinty to play a long ball forward, not a great one, and Donald is so valuable as he holds on to the ball, but it does eventually get away from him, and it's a chance for Queens to take possession again, and it's back with Marshall, the left back. Goes long, that's just the aim, trying to get it up. Good header from Anderson, not really perhaps the greatest of communication. Ball comes off Penrice, and Dobie lets it go out for a Queen's throw. Takes it quickly, chance for them to move it through Stirling, who's been a quiet opponent so far, but I suspect that may change. Ball played forward, up goes the heads. Penrice plays it down to the halfway line, but out of play, and a chance for Queens to just enjoy their first bit of possession that they've had in the first 10 minutes of this game.
Yeah, they came under a lot of pressure in the opening stages, and obviously the team needs to come out and win it, and that's the positive of the position we're in, is that at no point we're going to be chasing the game until we go behind, and hopefully if Queens just come out, I doubt they'll do it in the first half, but potentially as the second half goes on.
Well, they're on the attack just now, coming forward to the edge of the box, and here is the one you don't want having a shot at goal. Stephen Dobie, his angle drive was low, but it was just past the post. I'm pretty certain Jamie Sneyd knew that wasn't threatening him, as he wasn't scrambling across his goal. But the first attempt that Queens have had.
Yeah, a decent shot, he kept it low, and it looked like it was going close to that corner, but I think it was a yard or two wide in the end. But it's exactly what we were speaking about before the game. It was just Lyndon Dykes with a quick layoff, and he immediately got the shot off, because he's not going to be able to do much moving about. We've seen in the opening stages he isn't doing too much chasing, that sort of thing, so the injury definitely affects him a wee bit. That doesn't make him any less dangerous with the ball at his feet though.
Lovely ball from Shea Gordon, gives it to Mansell. Has he got the pace to get away? Hasn't really got the control at any point, and then tries to play it in to Elliott. Wins a throw in off Josh Todd, so Thistle have got good possession down at the edge of the Queen's penalty area, and Mansell just unfortunately just never quite had that full control of the ball. It was kind of fighting against it as it bobbled, and that meant he couldn't get away from his markers. Ball played forward by McMillan. McDonald gets it back in the 1-2 with Elliott, then plays the ball into the box. It's over everyone's head, but Penrice is coming in at the back end of the box. Not a great ball in, and Queens have it, and a chance for them to break. It's 3-on-4 in Thistle's favour as Queens come up the right hand side. Bannigan's taken out of the play, tries to come back in. The reverse pass is not a good one from Stirling, and it goes straight out of play for a Thistle goal kick. But I said Stirling had been quiet from the first period, but that was him springing into life.
Yeah, he picked up the ball pretty much on the edge of the Queen's box, and took a really good run down the right hand side. That's the sort of danger he has. He can go past players, even players that can tackle as well as Stuart Bannigan with one touch, and in the end his pass was poor, but it was good tracking of the runs by the defenders.
Snedden takes the kick long, looking for Mansell, tries to get a little flick on, nice play from McDonald, touches it back to Gordon, into Spittle, that's good play. Spittle's got Penrice charging down the left hand side. Penrice tries to get the better of his man, ends up running into two defenders who do the blocking, tries to win it back again, but once again Queen's on top. Anderson has time to bring it under control and send it back to Jamie Snedden, and he doesn't panic when under pressure, and he gives it to McMillan, who can now come down the right hand side over the halfway line. He goes, Bannigan says, on you go son, and then he gives it to Spittle, who's very central. I thought Spittle would be a bit more forward, but he's kind of playing a link role between the two in the middle and the two up front, but not really veering from it an awful lot, and he's just acting as an extra midfielder. Ball out with Elliott on the right hand side, plays it up to McDonald, back to Elliott, back to Bannigan on the edge of the centre circle. He's got McGinty to his left, opts not to use him, keeps going. Bannigan gets past Dykes, has to check back, he leaves it for Spittle. Penrice thinking about making a forward run, but Spittle plays it into the box. Not the worst ball, good bit of defending. Oh, the look of certainty for Mansell! Goal! Lewis Mansell's first goal for Thistle! It's the Jags ahead here at Queen of the South. His first effort was brilliantly saved by the goalkeeper. It looked as though the chance was lost, but then he turned and wheeled and fired it into the roof of the net, and that puts Thistle not quite into easy street, but into breathing street, and they've got a little bit of a gap. Queen of the South 0, Thistle 1. A first senior Thistle goal for Lewis Mansell.
An incredible turn and finish. The improvisation he showed there was excellent. The first one said goal, it was by Leafield. Barry Maguire got a touch in on the cross that Bruce Spittle put in, and that just set it up for Mansell. A great save by the goalkeeper, but it fell back to him, and so easily when you spin and shoot like that on the volley, you can balloon it high over the bar, out the stands even, but he kept it down just enough, and it was no chance for Leafield second time round.
Well, he nearly got it in the way out, I'll be honest. McDonald picks it up immediately for Thistle. Bannigan under pressure, gives it out to McMillan. If Thistle could score again, Christopher, it could almost just take all the pressure streaming off us here as Bannigan plays it to McMillan. Another good ball to McDonald, tries to flick it into Shea Gordon, who's made a great run. Good defending by Lowe, he puts it out for a corner kick, and that's good stuff from Thistle. They've started the game very well, and what we missed last week was clearly Scott McDonald, whose link-up play has just been terrific.
Yeah, the way he knocks balls down the corner and lays it off for people, perfect way to pass, that one in there for Shea Gordon, to see that run and then execute it what he did and put that pressure on Nicky Lowe. As he tracked back, I'm not really sure what he was trying to do in the end, because he was almost trying to pass it back to the keeper, but it was never a position to pass it back to the keeper. But you can see that they're a wee bit rattled early on Queen of the South.
Corner to the Jags then, and a chance for Penrice to swing over a decent left-footed in-swinging corner. Plenty of men moving for Thistle, one of which is Elliott. It comes to the back post, and it was nearly one ball, still not controlled, and eventually it was out of play for a goal kick. Good play again from the Jags from the corner, and just there was a lot of holding.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Really before the ball came in, so there wouldn't have been a penalty out of it, but as soon as that ball comes in, I thought Elliott was being held. I thought Anderson was not exactly in complete control of what he was trying to do because of interference, but Thistle's looking as though, as you said, they've got Queen's rattled.
Yeah, Queen of the South doing plenty of holding there. It was Elliott, I think, was the most obvious one. He was making on towards the front post, and there was some holding going on in his shirt. And he was talking to Andrew Dallas after the corner had come in, and I was just expecting him to hold play up and just speak to all the players to make sure that was the last of it, but we'll let it go.
Good bit of defending there from Jack McMillan. The ball put up the left hand side, looking to try and get something moving, but McMillan just put his body in between the ball and Josh Todd, who was trying to win it. And out of play it goes for a Thistle goal kick. Still 0-0 at Ayr. Here nil, Alloa nil. It won't matter one jot if Queen of the South don't score twice here at Palmerston, because it's Queen of the South 0, Thistle 1. Lewis Mansell's first goal for the club. Could you possibly score a more important one for your first one?
I don't think so. He's come at the perfect time, and hopefully that just gives him more confidence.
He's away again. He's going to hold off a couple of challenges, and still Mansell's going to try a shot. Gets it through a leg, but not sufficiently into the corner to test the goalkeeper, who was able to save, but right thing to do. Lovely little flick on from McDonald, and Mansell able to take it on, put it through the legs of a defender to slightly unsight the goalkeeper, but couldn't get it enough angle to put it right in the corner.
Yeah, we'd spoken before the game about how maybe Mansell has been brought in so that Scott McDonald would play off him. It should have been the opposite in the opening minutes, that all of McDonald's little touches have been for Mansell or the guys coming from midfield, and it's given Mansell plenty to work off, and That one there, he took a shot from 20 yards. I don't think he would have taken that if he hadn't scored early in the game. It's that bit of confidence that he's now got. But now we've got a corner to defend.
Corner to Queen of the South. James Penrice was kind of chasing back a ball, but he had no idea whether it was a corner or a goal kick. And when I looked at the two match officials, I don't think they had the slightest clue either as they looked at each other, and linesman eventually gives the corner. So Queens have a chance immediately to get the ball into our danger zone. Dobie running around is way beyond him. Up goes Anderson to head clear and gets it to Shea Gordon. Gordon quickly trying to find McDonald. Mistake there made by Mercer, and McDonald is away, but Mercer's got right back to challenge. McDonald's just going to use his skills to hold it up and then find Shea Gordon. Gordon will go backwards. Good bit of play. Spittle, right-footed, swings it across looking for Elliott. Lovely ball from Spittle. Not as though there's any separation from his marker, who was Lyndon Dykes. It's now Bannigan, just inside the Queen's half. Now gives it to McDonald, who's got a chance to cut it back. Well blocked. Will he let it go out for a goal kick? Well, he doesn't let it go out at all, because I was going to go out for a corner. Back to Penrice. Tries to play it in for Mansell and headed out for a Thistle throw, but it's looking right. The Thistle look as though they could cause problems every time they go forward.
Yeah, exactly. Whenever we get the ball, we're making great runs and attacking well. I think we might just have a goal from Morton, or 1-0 up against Dundee United. That
Managerless Morton?
Yes, well,
sort of managerless Morton.
Miller and Tids are in the dugout.
Miller and McAllister, is it not?
You might be right, yeah, sorry.
So, kicked off as Thistle win themselves a corner. Here at Dumfries, I don't know what the Queen's man is saying. If Morton win, it means we can't finish 5th. It would mean 6th, I think, or 7th. But we don't worry, but that's the least of our worries at the moment. It's the only other goal other than the one scored here, which is netted by Lewis Mansell, and it's going to be a corner to the Jags, which where Spittle will take. Anderson's made a run which has got him completely unmarked. It's going towards McGinty, headed away from him, and that'll be another corner for the Jags. And that was a very decent corner and some terrific runs from Anderson in particular and McGinty. They find themselves, Anderson unmarked and McGinty just one-on-one. Just a pity he couldn't get on top of his defender a bit more. Yeah, Anderson was breaking in from the edge of the box where there's a clump of bodies in front of him. He just sort of lost the defenders as he ran through that. And as you say, it was in acres of space, and then at the back post, McGinty a bit more tightly marked, but manages to win another corner. It is indeed a corner. Just having a look at other scores, nothing of interest in our league. Morton 1, Dundee United 0, of course, and here it's 1-0 to the Jags. In comes Penrice's corner, too near the goalkeeper, but he opts to punch rather than catch. Up goes Gordon, doesn't quite get the better of Todd. Todd then will get a foul as Anderson rather stupidly put his hands on him. Wasn't much, but enough to bring him down, and he doesn't need a second invitation to fall to the ground when you get touched. Players of all teams do that, and Andrew Dallas gives the free kick quite correctly, and it'll be a free kick to the home side, midway inside their own half, right by the right hand touchline. It still remains Queen of the South 0, Thistle 1. Lewis Mansell's first ever Thistle goal after 14 minutes. The difference between the sides, what a good finish it was, well worth watching on Jag Zone tonight. Up goes the ball. McDonald tries to get in the end of a misplaced header, but it's McMillan who picks it up, and lovely first touch to Bannigan. Bannigan goes long looking for McDonald. McDonald up against Michael Doyle, gets it and wins the ball, wins the throw-in, offers Doyle. Good play from McDonald, so experienced, just knowing what to do is such an important. Yeah, these long balls that just look like you can't do anything with them. He somehow wins a throw-in or a corner or something like that, and it's absolutely incredible the way he can control the ball and just win those little things. It just takes us right up the pitch. The announcement there, the drivers of the supporters buses have got to move the bus, and if they don't, something will happen. It's quite what, I don't know. We go back to funny announcements. The Thistle fans is where Partick Thistle will park where they want. Good stuff from the Jags fans there. A little bit more relieved than perhaps they were at the start of the game. Just in case, I know I brought you up with it, there was an announcement before the warm-ups or as the teams were warming up, but to take care if you're in the terracing behind the goal in case there's an errant shot from a player that might hit you. Safety first, eh? What have we got? Montrose 1, Raith Rovers 1, and that's obviously two teams that will be involved in the playoffs. Whoever finishes 9th will take on Montrose on Tuesday night? Yes. Tuesday night? Saturday. Up at Montrose. Yeah. And hopefully it won't be us, but we're not anywhere near safe yet. Another goal might just make the difference, because if we were to stay one up, it could still get nervy. especially if Alloa were to go in front. Not that they have, it's still 0-0 at Somerset Park. This will clear the ball through Penrice, battle for it back. Spittle wins it. Can he find a red and yellow jersey? Goes over the line himself, tries to play it down to Mansell. I don't think he'll keep that in, and he doesn't. It runs out of play for the goal kick, but once again, good play from Blair Spittle. They're definitely getting some space in these little pockets of space just behind the strikers, or just behind the strikers. They're certainly getting an opportunity to play the ball.
Yeah, and I think that effort and determination is there. I think that's something that when we came out in the second half against there, that was sadly lacking, that we'd had in previous games, like the game at Somerset Park, but it's definitely back for this game, you can see.
Yeah, Queen's come forward on the left hand side. Here is Marshall, gets a bit of space. McMillan tries to get back. Marshall gets the ball into the box. It's a decent delivery. The header goal was just wide from 5 yards out. It was Lyndon Dykes who got the header. Never really had control of it, but it was still that close. It could have floated in at the near post, and Jamie Sten was making sure that he was in control, but that would have been a scramble had it been right in the corner.
Yeah, good header from Lyndon Dykes. He was under a lot of pressure and wasn't able to get a proper connection with it, but managed to just direct it towards goal. Jordan Marshall over on the left hand side in front of us here. It was a really good little run down the left hand side that allowed him to cross it in, and he lifted it to the perfect spot at the back post. But as I say, just the pressure that was put on Dykes meant he wasn't able to get a proper header on it.
Another brilliant little bit of play from Mansell. Gets a header on the ball, but Spittle can't take it on, although he does win it back. Elliott gives it to Spittle. Lovely ball inside to McDonald. McDonald right at the corner of the box, looking for some chance to get the ball in or hold it up. Gives it out to Spittle. Hits it off his man, out of play for the Thistle throw. Still 1-0 to the Jags, and a throw in 15 yards from the corner flag to be taken by Christy Elliott. And Thistle still lead 1-0 as he takes it to Gordon. Gordon to Spittle. Spittle tries to find it to McDonald, but Todd gets it clear. McGinty gets a good foot in and puts the ball out of play for a throw into the home side, but it's meaning no chance of any quick break, and everybody can get back into position. Still Queen of the South now, Thistle 1. Thank you for listening throughout the land, wherever you may be, to Jags On Live. I know we had some issues last week, of which we strongly apologise. Let's hope that we've got everything technically working this afternoon, and you'll be able to hear exactly what's going on in this very important fixture. Meanwhile, Dobie flicks the ball on to Lyndon Dykes. He's tackled and beaten. Gordon takes it away from Dykes, then plays it to Spittle. Over the halfway line goes Spittle. Mansell's there. Looks as though he tries to get the ball across. Lowe gets in a steal of the ball, and eventually Spittle gets back in with a very good defensive tackle, and that ball goes out of play for a Queen's throw, preventing any quick sort of break. No goals to tell you about anywhere else since that only goal for Morton. Up goes Shea Gordon, looks with a good header to find McDonald. He wants a foul. I think he's played for that a wee bit, and Dallas not fooled. Meanwhile, McGinty left-footed scissor kick. It was a beauty. Up in the air it goes, but won by Mercer over the right-hand side, and then plays it forward, but there's nobody in that area of the pitch, and McGinty just launches it up to McDonald, who has to work really hard to keep control of it, and wins Thistle a throw in 10 yards inside our own half, right in front of the Queen of the South dugout. And I think as things stand with 25 minutes gone, Christopher, everything's just about going to plan.
Yeah, we can be very happy with the way we started the match. We'd said that it would be key the way that we did start, especially for nerves and that sort of thing, and that goal has settled us a little bit. We know we're not quite there yet, but we've been on top for the most part. They've only had 2 real chances, and they've been fast breaks that have come from nothing really, whereas we've had some really nice passing moves that have built up, and just more of the same really at the moment.
Queen's got a free kick 10 yards inside their own half for High Feet there. That was one that could have gone either way, but High Feet it is, and Queens will have a free kick, as I say, 10 yards inside their own half, right by the touchline, and a chance for the ball to be played into a more threatening zone. It doesn't go very deep, but Queens will get the ball headed in towards goal. There's a wee foul on Stephen Anderson by Lyndon Dykes. Not a lot of intent in it, but because Anderson had got there first, Dykes is just a fraction late, and that's why it's a foul. And Jamie Sneddon will run out to take this. Referee's making it clear that he's wasting time, but I think he was just genuinely taking a slip of his water or vodka, whatever you've got in these bottles. I suspect water. And Jamie comes running out to take the free kick, despite Andrew Dallas putting him under a bit of pressure. Goal for big game at League 1, Brecon 0, Stennismuir 1. Stennismuir, I think, have got the benefit of the draw in that game. It's one of these two goes down, they're able to play
1 point above Brecon,
and Stennismuir will look to win that one. Here's Shea Gordon with the ball on the halfway line, launches it forward looking for Mansell, but that's just going to go out of play, and I mean just, and it'll be a free kick, throw into Queens, 19-20 yards from their own corner flag. This will not perhaps had the same amount of threat in the last 10 minutes, but Queen of the South really have got to start upping the tempo soon, and that will be perhaps when Thistle will feel there's an opportunity to up the tempo themselves.
Yeah, they've not really looked much of a threat, as I mentioned, just the two chances that have come from quick turnovers and good play out in the wide areas, but they haven't had too much of that foot on the ball sort of football that they want to be playing.
Chance for them to come forward, but well read by the Thistle defence, and the extra man sees McGinty give it up to Mansell. Good control on the halfway line. In fact, I'll go as far as that's brilliant control on the halfway line. Thistle don't really make the most of it though, and they kind of give the ball away, but they've kind of won it back. Bannigan was just trying to shepherd it out for a throw, and I'm not convinced that's going to go without a fight, and when he gets it down the line doesn't really do much with it, and Queens get it, and here's Dobie on the right hand side, and all of a sudden they've got a wee chance. Nicky Lowe, 35 yards out, spreads it out on the left, finds the dangerous Marshall up against Elliott. Still Marshall, looks to see if he can get the better of Elliott, but everywhere he turns, Elliott's still there. Nice little ball through from Maguire, finds Todd looking to swing it in. Gordon sticks with him, it's still Todd, can't really find an opening. Thistle are marking him out to play, and still the battle for the ball is ongoing. Goes out of play for a goal kick, good defending from Christy Elliott, and that's just a bit patience, isn't it?
Yeah, patient defending. You don't want to give any silly fouls away in the wide areas when they've got players who can deliver the ball very well, like Sterling and Dobie. Christy Elliott just waiting, and as he tried to knock it for his legs.
Big goal in our division, and it's one that will not please the Alloa fans. It's a goal for Falkirk. Falkirk 1, Ross County 0. Liam Rudden getting that goal there. So that is Zach Rudden, sorry. Liam Rudden is actually a speedway person, other sport. I'm getting my Ruddens mixed up. Zach Rudden who scored that one. Meanwhile, Thistle are just defending, and McGinty just shepherding the ball out of play for another goal kick. It's Queens just beginning to look as though they're going to just be a wee bit more forceful going forward. They were kind of delicate in what they were trying to do. They can't be delicate anymore. They've now got to start being a wee bit more aggressive.
Well, I mentioned at 0-0 that they'd probably have to come out at some point, and now that they're going down, it's even more so. For us, we started very energetic, and we're just slowing down a little bit. We want to get our possession back a bit more, because it has been shifting over towards Queen of the South in the last 5-10 minutes. But we're still in the commanding position, so we just need to keep it that way.
Scorer for Stannismuir, by the way, and their goal was Mark McGuigan. Jack McMillan with a throw in for the Thistle, just midway inside our own half, right in the right hand touchline. Gets it thrown long, looking for McDonald, does a wee bit of pushing. The referee and more so the linesman sees that. Scott McDonald's got a fair amount to have a wee moan about, because these are the kind of wee fouls that he tends not to get, and he gets penalised with his first one, but still having a wee chip at the linesman, but he's not going to get very far, just has to be careful. Meanwhile, good bit of play from Queens, and they tried to swing it across, and Nicky Lowe has to stop the ball reaching Mansell. I think Mansell perhaps just was a little bit passive in his attempt to win the ball there, and then eventually Queens played it forward, not with any conviction, and McGinty heads on, and then Bannigan, not a great header from Bannigan, and eventually the ball goes out of play for a Queens throw. Some fans over here thought the ball was out, but given it's 140 yards away, I don't think they could say with certainty Queen's allowed to take a throw in very quickly. It's played into the box. Stephen Anderson, who may be playing his last Thistle game today, depending on the result. And here's a chance all of a sudden for Queens. Shot at goal is wide of target from Marshall, and out of play for a goal kick it goes. Some Queens fans think that's net bound, but it was always just sailing a couple of feet wide of goal.
Yeah, he opened up well for Marshall there, and I actually think he probably should have gone across the goal with his left foot, tried to go for that near post, and Jamie Steddon had it covered easily, and the hitting of the side netting had some fans in the home end cheering, but that all really came from Shea Gordon being blocked off by Andrew Dallas, so another moment where he's not endearing himself to some fans.
Long clearance from the goalkeeper, won by Bannigan in the middle of the park, just lobs it forward with his left foot for Mansell. No, says the referee, that might have been. Back from Bannigan to Gordon as Mansell's down on the ground. The referee has to stop the play as Mansell got a little knock in the back of the head. I think he might have had a case there for a foul.
Yeah, it looked like there was a little shoulder or an elbow in the back of the head. Went out for the challenge, it was Barry Maguire who was up against. They were both going for the ball, honestly. I don't think there was any malice in the challenge, but it seems to just be caught in the back of the head.
Well, it's going to be a drop ball. I think the referee was just every time I see a drop ball I think of Leeds against Aston Villa or something going on and not putting the ball out for an injured player. It all kicked off. What about the bit of play acting with the Leeds man? He got a 2-game ban, and rightly so. I think he's lucky to only get a 2-game ban. That's just out and out cheating. Here's Mansell for Thistle. Can he get it forward to McDonald, who made a decent run? Goes wide to Elliott instead. Christy Elliott looking to see if he can keep it. Plays the quick ball into Spittle, where he can't quite find Mansell, and it's intercepted. It had to be a pinpoint pass. Tries to win it back, but ball goes out for a Queen's throw. You thought it was the other way. I must say I thought it was the right decision. I thought Spittle just got a foot on it and turns it out of play for a throw into Queen's midway inside their own half. 32 minutes played here. It's Queen of the South 0, Thistle 1. Lose Mansell after 14 minutes. We're not there yet. Long throw in played forward. McMillan, who's been immense, plays that ball forward. Maguire or McDonald battling for the ball. Maguire just gets there. Not only that, McDonald unfortunately came down the throw. But Thistle now win the throw. In. Wow, the Lions got that one horrendously wrong, and the Thistle fans not happy with that decision from the assistant. That one was wrong.
Yes, it was pretty clearly wrong. He just put it out of the park, and Blue Spittle was about a yard away, and he swung his leg at it, but there was no touch, that's for sure.
Shea Gordon gets the ball to Blair Spittle, goes forward looking for Mansell, will struggle to beat Doyle on that one. Maguire gets back and heads it away, and eventually it's back with Lowe. Good lucky touch off of Spittle, and he brings it forward. Good ball to Dykes as well, and he's got Stirling charging up there when he tries to play it forward to Dobie, who was trying to get some separation, but Snedden was fine. Dobie's fit, but not really fit, is he?
No, you can see that it's hindering the way he runs, and we've got another goal. Alloa won it up here.
Oh, I haven't got that one up yet. Oh well, that just keeps us on our toes. There's a lot of footballs to be played this afternoon, and that's not something that I was most pleased about. That was not come up on my feed yet, but there you go. Alloa A0, Alloa 1, and all of a sudden it just takes a little bit of a little change to. I think that puts Queens in the relegation spot with Alloa leading, so there's a lot of football to play. Well won by Bannigan. Steals the ball off of Dobie over the halfway line. Only got Mansell in front of him. Mansell's got to time it. Not a great ball. Mansell fights and then can't stay on his feet. And the ball taken off him. Elliott will try and win it back and does win it back. He's a long way away from doing anything with it, but he gets it to Bannigan. McDonald. Now to Elliott again on the right hand side. I would have liked Elliott just to go at pace there. Opts to check back, play it to Shea Gordon. And Shea Gordon plays it into Bannigan. Bannigan across to Gordon again, right by the right hand touch line. Forward to McDonald. McDonald brings it under control. Looks to see if he can find a Thistle man. Not really a lot of options. McDonald gets away from Nicky Lowe. Still going McDonald, 30 yards out. Left of centre. Plays it into Mansell. Oh, Gordon made a great run. It's still Mansell. He tries a shot, takes a deflection. Could have gone anywhere. It went into the goalkeeper's midriff, sadly, and that was a potential chance for Thistle. Shea Gordon made some great space there.
Yeah, he did. It was a brilliant run just down the channel into the box, but Mansell used that as a decoy, and with a little Cruyff turn, created some space for himself, left-footed shot from range, and I think it actually came off Scott McDonald's back, and it could have gone anywhere.
Good flick on from Dykes, finds Dobie. Dobie tries to get it into Josh Todd. He's had to go a bit wider than he would like, chips it into the back post, and Thistle will take no chances there with Sean McGinty heading that out for a corner. That was the first time that Dykes has won a header in a dangerous zone against that Thistle back line. Thankfully Todd had to go a little bit wider than he would have liked, put a decent ball in, and McGinty takes no chances.
Yeah, it was a really good flick on from Dykes, just getting to Dobie, and then he lifted the ball through. Trying to follow up at the back post, but as we say, he's not getting around as easily as he might have usually.
It was Connor Shields that scored for Alloa, and they lead 1-0. Quite a decent season he's had. In comes the corner. Spittle gets it away and gets it to McDonald. Noel's got nobody in front of him, and he tries to play too much football, ends up losing the ball. Thankfully here they've been forced back a bit. Here's Stirling. Tries to play it forward. Thistle will intercept that. In fact, well left by Sean McGinty. Lets that ball run through. Inverness 1, Dunfermline 0. Nathan Austin has scored that goal for Inverness. That would help Thistle in our quest to climb the table, but as I say, it's all about us winning this game, and only 1-0 up. We can't afford to do anything. And there's Bannigan getting outnumbered by Queen's players who were all still up from the attack. It's back with Nicky Lowe. Tries to play a difficult ball forward to Marshall. Well read by Christy Elliott, and they're able to shepherd that one out for a goal kick, Christopher.
Yeah, very simple from the park. Usually so reliable on the ball. I think he was just expecting to be able to turn away from all those challenges like he usually can, but got outnumbered and gave the ball away, and Queen's had a really good chance. But when you've got three midfield players in the centre, he really should have a pass every time he gets it, so no excuses for that.
Goal kick to be taken by Jamie Snedden, who so far hasn't really had much to do, but that's been the case for quite a number of games. Long ball played up, McDonald can't quite get the head on it. Foot comes off of Spittle and it just goes straight through to the goalkeeper. Was hoping that would hold up for Mansell, but not to be. Mansell will try and put pressure on the goalkeeper. He's fully recovered from that knock he got in the first minute. Anderson gets a good header on the long ball up, and Nicky Lowe will let it stop just a yard from the touchline inside his own half. Plays it back to Maguire, and he turns it all the way back to one each at Alloa. That's good news. We haven't got it confirmed here yet. That era playing 2 games. They're obviously playing here according to me, and they're also playing at home as Queen of the South try to fashion a wee chance, but another injury as Thistle were looking to break, and it's another Jags player down. Looks like Sean McGinty it is who's taken a fall, and he will need some treatment. And if Sean McGinty's down needing treatment, that's usually a pretty serious affair, because not much puts him out of commission.
The only time I remember going down before was at Tannadice at the start of the season. He came back on with a Terry Butcher style bandage around his head. I think it was Lyndon Dykes he was challenging with there. We've talked about how physical he is, and he puts himself about, and sometimes that comes with swinging arms and that sort of thing. Looks like he just caught McGinty.
The Queen of the South fans are singing Air Air Super Air. As you say, I've not had it up in the Sky Sports app yet. I think that's the one I'm using. I think they're using a slightly more efficient
scores, I think it's called.
a slightly more efficient one than this, that maybe gets the scores up a wee bit quicker. But that's the state of play in all the games, with Ayr equalising Ayr 1, Alloa 1, which means is good news. We get a little bit of a breathing space here at Dumfries. Queen of the South 0, Thistle 1. The only goal scored after 14 minutes by Lewis Mansell. It was an interesting decision to be made, Mansell or Doolan, or perhaps even Fitzpatrick or Carville, but it's definitely proved to be the right one.
Yeah, if he gets his goal as a striker, that's all you want, and a lot of the fans, I'm sure, would want Chris Doolan in that starting lineup. Lewis Mansell, not as proven as a goal scorer when compared to Chris Doolan, but he's got his first there, and he'll be full of confidence now.
I'll give you 3 guesses who scored for Ayr.
Lon Shanklin.
Correct. You only needed 1. Ayr 1, Alloa 1 then. As the ball is returned to Jamie Snedden.
Was it a penalty, do you know?
It's not showing as a penalty, but it could be a penalty that was saved and he scored the rebound, I don't know.
Possible.
Here's McGinty, comes forward, looks to try and get it up the left-hand side, intercepted by Mercer, out of play for a Thistle throw. James Penrice was his intended target, so a throw into the Jags just inside the edge of the penalty area. McDonald to Penrice, tries to get it across but couldn't keep the ball in. In fact, it's going out of play for a throw in to the home side, 15 yards from their own corner flag. Queen of the South 0, Thistle 1. Lewis Mansell the scorer, and it'll be, by the time the throw is taken, 25 yards from the corner flag. Flicked on, Bannigan leaves it from McGinty, good shout, picked up by McDonald, and he's penalised for handball, and Scott McDonald's got to feel a little unlucky that there's perhaps a little bit of payback from previous times, because he's getting no breaks at all from the match officials.
No, he's not. He's had a few where he thought he should have a foul and they weren't given, or he's put a little bit on a defender and then has been given one. Similar has happened to him, but that one there, it looked like it come off his shoulder. I don't think the referee could even see the side of his body that mattered, so I presume it came from the linesman, but he's not getting the rub of the green so far.
Shea Gordon gets it forward to Elliott, back to McMillan, into Bannigan. I've got to say, that's a short pass back from Bannigan, but enough to get to Snedden, who just takes no chances and puts it clear. I've got to say, Jack McMillan's input in the first half has been very encouraging. I think he's got very good control of the ball, very good reading of the play, and very good distribution as well.
Yeah, prior to the game I actually thought that Stephen Saunders probably should have come in rather than Jack McMillan, but he's proved me wrong. He's been very good. His passing, he's brought out defence, something that we'd lacked in a couple of games beforehand.
Nearly a ball over the top. Gordon, who played it, wins it back. Here's Spittle, tries to get away from Todd. Todd just about wins the battle, gives it to Mercer, plays it forward to Stirling on the right hand side. Thistle have kept him very quiet today, but he's got a bit of space now to turn and play it forward to Dobie, who's got a bit of space himself. He has to be stopped. Dobie plays it forward to Dykes, back to Dobie, tries to flick it forward, but McMillan gets in there. Thistle getting in all sorts of a mess to try and clear it. They get it partially clear. Nicky Lowe, Andy Stirling on the right hand side, 25 yards out, looking to see if he can get the better of Bannigan and Penrice, touches it back to Mercer. Mercer comes in with the right foot, looking for a chance to get a cross in, and Dobie is penalised for doing a bit of pushing. He's not, sorry, it's Mercer who's penalised for doing a bit of, Marshall is penalised for doing a bit of pushing, but not happy about it, but no. That looked fairly straightforward.
Yeah, he wasn't too subtle about it. He just put two hands and pushed the other's back. Now he sold it a little bit, but the referee, I think, gave the right decision on that occasion.
Goals flooding in, not another. League East Fife 1, Forfar 1, Stranraer nearly every 2, and Cowdenbeath 1, Clyde 0. That is a real surprise. Peterhead are winning 1-0, so that might not matter, but Clyde, who will feel that they've been, of all the teams that have been victim of injustices this year, they might just feel that they're at the very top of it with their points deduction for the invalid player that they played. As Thistle win a throw-in right by the corner flag, good chasing and harrying. Referee looks at his watch, 3 minutes left of the first half, plus a bit of injury time. I think there'll be quite a bit of it, because there's been quite a bit of injuries. What you got at half time, Christopher?
I was speaking to George Francis about this first half.
So Thistle try to put something in the board to get the ball in. It's almost won by Spittle, who's got the chance to play the ball in, drills it across, catch for McDonald, and then hits off Scott McDonald and finds his way into the back of the net. That was a bit of luck that Thistle very rarely get, but it's funny, it always happens to very good players that seem to get these slices of luck. Spittle did brilliantly well to drill the ball across the 6-yard box, but 3 yards across it. It was cleared, but the clearance hit McDonald, and the ball's in the back of the net. It's Queen of the South Mill. Thistle 2, a massive step towards safety, and a massive step towards Scott McDonald, proving what an invaluable signing.
Yeah, it's a perfect time to get a goal as well, just ahead of half time. He'll be discouraged by that, and for such a good player with such a good touch, he scores a lot of really awful goals. Scott McDonald, and then one at Falkirk where the cross came in and he used his knees to bundle in, one at Harsh from about 2 yards out, and I think it ended up in the side of the net, but they all count the same, and there's another one there at a vital time.
So it puts us in a very healthy position, Christopher, but as we say with Thistle, we never do things simply. This job is not yet done.
No, not at all.
One more, and I think it is, but not yet.
Even then, I wouldn't be 100% sure as the nature of this season been, but 3-0 up, you'd need 4 goals, but overall, this first half performance has been excellent for us.
So 2-0 for the Drags. Lewis Mansell and Scott McDonald, the two strikers. Christy Elliott having to do some chasing, and I think Queens will see this out. We're just about on half time. I would expect a massive change in their approach to the second half now.
Yeah, their manager will go through them, they'll get the rocket, and I'm not sure whether they'll go with changes. They've probably got their best players on the pitch is the thing. They've got some options on the bench, but their best creative players, Dobie, Todd, Sterling are already on there, and they're not having a good game, and I think you can definitely see the effects of Dobie's injuries are affecting them, but coming out for that second half, you certainly expect a bit more effort and energy from them. It's been really poor this first half.
Well, not a pretty goal from Scott McDonald, but a mightily effective one, and that is Thistle going 2 to the good here as Mansell tries to get the ball, but it's won by Marshall, turns it back to Maguire, and if Thistle must see this out to half time, definitely got a bit of breathing space now. The ball played forward by the goalkeeper, won by McGinty. What a last month he's had. Here's Mansell, can't quite find some space, but he does turn, tries to flick it away, and there was runners, but ball's intercepted. Long ball played forward looking for Dykes. Brilliant defending from McGinty. He just puts himself away from the ball, and Snedden just stays calm under pressure, gives it to Anderson, and that is half time here at Palmerston. Queen of the South Mill, Partick Thistle 2, more than we can have expected. Lewis Mansell after 14 minutes. Brilliant play by Blair Spittle, has been involved in both goals. He played the ball into the box. Mansell's first effort brilliantly saved by the goalkeeper, but then Mansell showed presence of mind to wheel and fire it into the roof of the net. And then just minutes before half time, Spittle again to the byline, cuts it across. It was half cleared, it hits off McDonald and ends up in the back of the net. That's a jammy goal. And as I say, it's only good players, Christopher. They score jammy goals.
Yeah, the best players all get slices of luck here and there. And you'd have to say, since he joined in February, Scott McDonald's been the most important player to our team. The goals that he's got, that one at Alloa probably been the most important. This one could end up being equally as important because it gives us that little extra cushion. And now, if Queen has got one goal, it's not panic stations immediately. But it's a really good position we put ourselves in going into the half-time break.
Okay, so half time here at Dumfries. It is Queen of the South 0, Thistle 2.
teams are now back out, so we'll get it back to Michael Max in just a second. It looks like we have had a substitution. Darren Brownlee's coming on. It's going to be a back three for Queen of the South. We just need to wait and see who went off. Looks like possibly Nicky Lowe.
Yep, you would spot his blown locks anywhere. They're not there.
So change of formation there. It's been really a 4-4-2, a 4-3-1-2 sort of idea in that first half, but going to the back three with Doyle, Maguire and Brownlee now. Yep,
Darren Brownlee, former Thistle youth player, of course, as the second half underway. And immediately Queens go on the attack. You're going to just see a bit of momentum, I think, coming from them in terms of all-out attack. There's going to be a lot of gaps, and when you hear a lot of gaps and you say to yourself, well, the Thistle got on the bench, Joe Cargill, Aidan Fitzpatrick, they're going to lick their lips if they get a run out there today.
Chris Dillon as well. All guys who can exploit those spaces in different ways. Plenty of creativity off the bench. Guy Harkins as well, if you want to go with a change in midfield.
McDonald tries to find an opening straight away. Blair Spittle tries to get in, but Queens do get it away. Headed forward by a very impressive Shea Gordon, picked up in the middle of the park though as Queens come forward, and Penrice has to go back chasing, but it's down the right hand side. Do come the home side. Stirling 35 yards out, tries to lip it forward to Dykes. Dykes touches it wide, and then played right across to Marshall and Mercer, should I say, on the right. Plays the ball into the middle. Easy one for Jamie Snedden, and that particular threat comes to an end, and Thistle will just kill a bit of time again, courtesy of Jamie Snedden. And as we said, we've got to expect something from Queens.
Yeah, the manager have tried to just give them some sort of boost in the half-time break. They've tried to change something personnel-wise and shape-wise as well, so obviously they weren't happy at all with that first half performance, as you'd expect. And you'd probably look to see maybe 10-15 minutes especially of really good pressing from them.
McDonald tries to flick it forward but doesn't really get that right at all, and it's an easy one for the goalkeeper, and it still stays at Thistle leading by 2-0, and a chance for the Jags to try and just put this game to bed as quickly as possible with a third goal. Would you agree with me, Christopher? A third one, is it?
Yes, I think for all intents and purposes it would be at 3-0, needing 4 goals from Queen of the South, but you never say never in football, and especially when Partick Thistle on the pitch.
Absolutely. You're still young, Christopher, but you've already learned the game very, very well. Long ball played forward by Todd. Chance for Thistle to clear it. McGinty, no nonsense, gets it up to Mansell. Lovely first touch, but tries to take it in the pitch, and well read by Darren Brownlee. As the forward come the hosts again with Stirling. Plays it out on the left, looking for Josh Todd. Forward again to Dobie. Dobie loses out. Thistle have it through McDonald. Times the run. Does he time the run? No, he doesn't. Mansell, if he had just gone a second earlier, he had beaten the offside trap, but he just went a fraction too early, or the ball came a fraction too late, I think, rather than he went early. As Queens come forward, but that will be one that McGinty will be able to control and forces Dykes to play the ball straight out to the park, and Thistle will have a throw-in. Thistle leading by 2-0 here at Queens. As things stand, Thistle are safe from any worries of playoff football, and in fact it's going to take 3 Queens goals and an Alloa goal for that to change in the second half. So whilst no Thistle fan will count their chickens, they'll certainly feel a lot easier than they were earlier on. Meanwhile, McDonald chases and wins the throw-in off of Maguire, 18 yards out. Real experience from McDonald. There's been a lot of key January signings, Christopher, but is there anything more significant than Scott McDonald?
Probably not. I think we need to remember that technically he was a February signing where we got him in just after the window had closed, and when everyone else had finished doing their business, we added one more vital piece that has proved to be a massive difference maker.
Ball back with Blair Spittle. He's only set up the 2 goals today, but on this occasion he's lost out, and Queens looking forward. A couple of men chasing for the ball, one by McGinty. He just takes more chances and takes it out. Quickly taken through in, pushed into the path of Mercer. Penrice will stick with him. Still Mercer. Penrice takes the ball off him regally, gets it up to the halfway line. Won by Brownlee. Nice bit of play from the middle of the park from Jacobs. It was a quiet first half. Jacobs gets the ball out on the left. Toby plays the 1-2. Good defending from Thistle, and Queen's in a corner. The first of the second half. And that was down to a quickly taken one as well. Thistle need to just keep their wits about them. Ball comes into the middle, and that'll be another corner, as the big foot of Christy Elliott prevents that from reaching the threatening area. But it was a quickly taken free corner. What Thistle have got to do is keep switched on.
Yeah, exactly. Concentration is key, especially in these early stages of the second half.
Corner for Queens, an in-swinger, right-footed. Thistle attacking the traditional away end here. In comes the corner ball, and it's missed by absolutely everybody. Don't know if it's even going to go out. It does eventually go out of play. In fact, the referee says that's a Queen's throw, so it must have flicked a Thistle head somewhere on that traverse across the Thistle penalty area. So Queens have a chance to put a bit of pressure on. Thistle need to keep their wits about them and ready to attack if there is any sort of counter. Good header away, and then Mansell gets a touch on it. If he fell, yep, says the referee. And Thistle can breathe a little sigh of relief. And I know it's only 50 minutes, Christopher, but the name Dallas has not yet been a centre of attention. He's actually been fine today.
Yeah, he's controlled the game fairly well. I probably would have liked him to have spoken to the Queen of South defenders about the holding, because there's quite a lot of it going on at that one corner, but it's a minor thing. Apart from that, he's called most things pretty well. I think his assistants have got a few little calls wrong here and there, but the man in the middle has done very well.
Ball up in the air, Penrice battling, doesn't get there, but picked up by Todd. McGinty heads it back, not into a good area though, and Anderson now has to backpedal and control a defensive error to McGinty, who can just lob it up the line. Really well, keeps it under control, and then plays it into Shea Gordon. Gordon touches it back to Bannigan. Saw the danger coming, so flicks it wide left to McGinty. And then McGinty opts not to do one of his surging runs, but play the ball up too high for McDonald. He wanted it into feet, and easily taken by goalkeeper Layfield. He's definitely fully recovered from his first minute incident with Lewis Mansell. Layfield no chance with either of the two goals. One from Mansell, one from McDonald. McDonald certainly had a touch of fortune about it, but just the knowledge of where to be and right place, right time. And talking of Mansell and McDonald, they're the ones trying to fashion a wee opening there, but it's Queens coming down the left hand side, and a real chance as Anderson comes across. He's not going to get there. It's ball played into the middle, well won by McGinty, and even it's time to switch it to his left foot, up to Mansell. Great first touch, doesn't get away from Maguire, but does win the throw in. And big goal in Division 1 or League 1, Brecon have equalised in their match against Stennismuir, and it's Jackson who scored that, Andy Jackson. And we'll keep you updated with anything else. Big goal for Borussia, for Hoffenheim. They've taken the lead against Borussia Mönchengladbach, which will please the guy that goes give us a B whenever Borussia Mönchengladbach score a goal. You know where I'm coming from.
Another head knock.
Yes, third one of the game, and I'm not even sure who it is. I wasn't really looking. I was looking at the scores at the time.
There's Spittle possible.
Spittle, yep, I can see Gordon, and that has been the only other one that might have been in that area. So Spittle has picked up a wee knock. He'll have to take some time. Arbroath nilled and Barton won. They've certainly had a bit of form once they got safe, and the safe hands of Jim Duffy doing a good job there.
Yeah, got him manager of the month for last month in League One, and had a bit of a shaky start up and down with the results, but I think they're about 10 points clear of ninth place now, so pretty safely away from the danger zone.
Jim Duffy is one of those managers that kind of splits opinion a little bit. He's not somebody that's going to be new and decisive, but if you're wanting a safe pair of hands to just settle down your club, as Dumbarton needed, he's probably a good choice.
Yeah, I think probably the thing that a lot of folk have a problem with is he's not going to innovate too much. He's going to keep to the basics, that sort of thing. And I mean, if you're a club that, like Dumbarton, are dropping down and just need some stabilising, then he's a good sort of manager to have. But he's not shown the ability to take up, like the time he had with Morton. They were very solid, got into the playoffs a few times, but never really quite looked like getting into the top league. So he's sort of the kind of guy who will calm your club down, but maybe won't be able to take it that step further. And
of course, Manager of the Year award, Dick Campbell is one of the 4 nominations for That's Stevie Clark, the only Premiership manager. Difficult choice that one actually. I don't know, Jim Goodwin might very well find Alloa being relegated and getting Manager of the Year award at the same time. It's a strange one.
The Jim Goodwin nomination, he definitely deserves to be nominated. I don't think he probably deserves to win it because whenever you think of Alloa and how they've got their points, there's been so many weird lucky goals, and you think, has his management been the thing that's kept them up, or a
mistake from Thistle, and just about got away with it, and the ball back with the goalkeeper. He picks it up, and there was a few question marks as to whether that was a pass back. It certainly wasn't intended, and that's why the referee says no. But always a bit risky.
Yeah, John Mellon, the way he swung his leg at it, did look a bit like a pass.
Ball lobbed up in the air from Queens. Anderson taken very late. That's a great challenge. That might just earn the first yellow card of the game, but I think Anderson's just got up and got on with it, and that's why there's nothing untoward. It was Jacobs who put in that challenge. It wasn't a good one, first of all.
Yeah, I don't think he was ever going to get there, and I think he knew that himself. Just lent the shoulder in a wee bit on Anderson, and I don't think he caught him in the face because of the way he got straight back up. I think he just caught him in the chest, but a little bit dangerous.
A lucky break for Queens this time, and they're able to play it out of defence, but Shea Gordon will intercept thanks to a deflection. Picked up now by Spittle, who's back and unharmed, tries to feed it through to Mansell. Thistle pick up the second ball though. It's with Bannigan. Touches it back to Stephen Anderson in the halfway line. He tries to go forward, plays an awful pass, and out of play for a goal kick. It wasn't even one where you thought he might have been playing rugby and putting it into touch at the corner, but poor effort and out of play for a Queen's throw. But there's 10 minutes of the 45 that we can rest easy with, and it still stays Queen of the South 0, Thistle 2, and there's not been any serious threat on Snedden's goal, but there has been perhaps a little bit more pressure in the Thistle half of the pitch.
Yeah, they've had a bit more of the ball and looked a bit more creative, but I don't think they've really carved anything open. They've been putting plenty of effort in, but they don't look too much like scoring, which is a positive for us because we knew this first 10-15 minutes was going to be vital.
Did say Brechin had equalised against Stennismuir. Stennismuir down to 10 men. Ooh. That one could get very interesting in League One. So there goes the goalkeeper with a long clearance from the goal kick. Well won by Sean McGinty. Still battling for the ball at the halfway line. Now out of play for a Thistle throw, put out by Mercer. Oh, bad news for the Borussia Mönchengladbach fans. He's going to start now. It's 2-2 in their game, and he's good as a bee. He's just about to start. Throw into the Jags on the halfway line, leading by 2 goals. Let's see if we were 2-0 down. I wouldn't be cracking jokes. I'm a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah, I think you can hear the fans chanting. I don't think it was. If it was 0-0, we'd be singing that.
Yeah, it's out on the right. Chance for Christy Elliott to maybe run at his man. Takes it up to the edge of the box. It's still Christy Elliott. Plays the ball in, takes a deflection, and eventually clears for a corner. Almost fell for Spittle, and he has to watch as the ball's cleared out for a Thistle corner. Not just a case of being able to threaten the goal, what it does do is just kill a bit more time.
Yeah, it does. Really good play from Christy Elliott on the right hand side. I don't think he's been a consistent threat throughout the game, but he's had his moments where he's burst forward and created something that cross deflected and almost fell to either Blair Spittle or Lewis Mansell, but wins the corner, slows things down and just keeps the clock ticking.
It's going to be a chance for Penrice to swing at him with his left foot. Plenty of men around. It's a bit of running and weaving, and again Gordon. It's bizarre, a situation like that. You hit the ball across the goal and he's gone for goal when he had no chance of scoring. Out of play for a goal kick. Just a little nod across the face would have been the answer.
Yeah, that would have been ideal. I'm not sure if he just caught under the ball a little bit. It was a difficult one to really get a proper header on, and you can feel the wind just starting to pick up a little bit. Whether that affected it or not, I'm not sure, but in that situation you'd have wanted them to try and go back across, go look for a teammate.
Spittle tries to get the ball, but very clever play by Maguire to knee it back to the goalkeeper as Spittle put him under pressure. O'Donnell comes across to try and stop the centre half, Michael Doyle, from doing some damage, but can't quite do there. Lyndon Dykes has it, but on the halfway line, touches it out on the left hand side, picked up by Doyle again. Back to Darren Brownlee. Brownlee was a youth player for Thistle, done quite well in the lower leagues, just to sort of play about in at the senior game, and done a pretty solid job wherever he's been. And it's going to be Queen of the South on the attack. Good defending from Thistle again, just making sure there's nothing untoward going on. They've still got it, Queens, but have a throw in midway inside the Thistle half. Maguire touches it short. Good bit of play from Queens this time. They get a chance to swing it into the box. They've not got a lot of men up, but they've still got a chance to play it in. McGinty doesn't quite get a firm header on it, but does enough to get it out of play. It'll be a throw into Queens 18 yards out, this time on this side, which is the traditional opposite the main stand. Good bit of play by Penrice as Dykes takes a fall and then claims a free kick, which was never. Mansell's having his jersey pulled, nothing given. Spittle gets a good header, doesn't quite fall from McDonald, but Jacob's effort comes out of play. And a bit more time wasted. Will Thistle start thinking of substitution soon?
Yeah, probably. I think you can see Carlos, the sports science man, working with Craig Slater, getting him a bit of warming up. So I think it's probably to see him soon, whether it's for Shea Gordon or Blair Spittle. Both of them have done plenty of running and they're a wee bit tired, but we spoke about how important that bench would be, and at 2-0 up we can bring these guys on with plenty of quality and just continue to play our game.
Thistle trying to fashion some opening, but good defending from Flanagan, makes that, shields that ball out. Now a throw into the Jags, took 10 yards inside the half. Dallas is infuriating with Thistle fans by telling James Penrice to take the throw in further back from where the ball went out, but he does. Plays it to McDonald, back to Penrice, lobs it forward, easy meat for Doyle. Jacobs gets a header, picked up by Dykes, plays it back into the middle. McDonald loses out, chance for Queens to clear the ball. The referee might have given a foul there against McDonald, but doesn't. Thistle clear the ball back out and picked up by the goalkeeper. He's 5-1, Forfar 2. Forfar, of course, are about to go into the playoffs. Thistle are about to make a substitution. That looks like Craig Slater about to come on. Not the one of the three that I would have expected to come on, but he can only make 3, and I'm sure he'd like to get everybody a wee run as Gordon plays a long ball up, headed away by Brownlee. Queens still have plenty of it. Gordon makes a bit of a mess of that, but wins it back and then plays a lovely ball to Spittle. Spittle is going to try a shot, and it's a cracker! It crashes off the crossbar from 35 yards. It really was a beauty, and eventually it goes out of play as James Penrice tries to win the ball. What an effort from Blair Spittle.
Yeah, just opened up for him, and we know what he can do from range. Lewis Mansell's landed in the right channel, but he opted to go for goal and met it really well. The goalkeeper had no chance and just came crashing back off the crossbar.
Jim Duffy was 60 last week. He's taken us to Martinside to run away. Not anymore. It's 1-1 as Dick Campbell, who's older than 60, has managed to bring his troops and league champions level. Chance for McDonald to get the ball headed on to Mansell, but it's cleared. Up goes Dykes, gets it to Todd. Gordon and Todd fighting for it. Todd just has the better of it, but Elliott should just about clear any danger from the threat of Jordan Marshall. And the goal for Ross County. Ross County equalised at Falkirk, scored by Stewart, and an equaliser for Clyde at Cowdenbeath, 1-1. And here comes a second sub for Queen of the South. Off is going Andy Stirling, and it's going to be Ian Wilson coming on. A little bit of a chase. Stirling never got into the game today. Very good against us all season, but when they really needed him, he was found wanting.
Just not really had enough of the ball at all to make his impact. A couple of times he got on it and then a couple of good little dribbling runs, but nowhere near enough. And we'll just watch this.
This is Dobie tries to get in, but McGinty just stands tall and means that Dobie can't get anywhere. He does get a throw in out of it, but Thistle will settle for that as Dobie got away from his man. So goal for Ross County then, 1-1 for the champions. At the same time as Arbroath, just about were scoring, 1-1 for the champions. Ball played forward looking for McDonald in the halfway line. Lovely reverse pass to Spittle. Spittle pulls away from his man, it's Wilson. It's still Spittle. Reverse pass into Mansell. Mansell goes down! No penalty, says the referee. I think he's probably right.
Yeah, I think Mansell was probably initiating the contact a little bit. The ball through was slightly too heavy and Mansell wasn't going to get to it, so when there was a little clash of legs, Mansell went crashing to the ground, but I think he was right not to have the penalty.
We see it a lot, and to the referee's credit, he was very well up with play there. No fitness issues there. A fair decision from the referee. Ball bouncing about. Thistle's Christy Elliott finds it, just lobs it up in the air, picked up in the halfway line for Queen of the South. They're looking for an option further forward from Doyle. He just kind of runs into trouble, and then, well, Manigan thought he was fouled, but nothing given. Then it's into Wilson, plays it across, header for forward. What a save from Jamie Snedden. He brings out his first save of the game, and it's an absolute belter of a save.
Excellent work from Jamie Snedden. They had a back cross goal with Preston to find the net, but a big strong hand, and Stuart Bannigan there so often does that thing where he falls down and he just gets the foul. Needs to be careful.
Here's Wilson, nice reverse pass again, too far up, out of play for the goal kick. Yeah, Queen's wants a penalty, very similar to what happened 2 minutes ago in the other box. As Thistle make their first change, it's Bruce Spittle that's coming off, and it's Craig Slater coming on, a little bit more defensive minded, I think.
Yeah, Craig Slater will probably just sit in. I wouldn't be surprised if Shea Gordon gets pushed up now to his more recent role of number 10. Bell's done brilliantly. We've seen the last couple of minutes his creativity can be key, but Leg's just a bit tired, I think, and he comes off.
So there's a change. Craig Slater coming on. I suppose you would say that Blair Spittle's season has been a good one. He's had obviously picked up the Player of the Year award, but there's been some highs, probably more highs than in any other time, bouncing down time. But I think that's probably Blair Spittle's way of playing.
Yeah, he's been one of our main creative threats, and especially during the winter period where we're just starting to pick up. He was vital for us before Scott McDonald has arrived. He was our main goal scoring threat as well, and the way he attacked and just brought other players into the play was key during that period. And I know he's a bit disappointed he hasn't scored a few more since January. He's not quite made double figures. I think he's stuck at 8 for the season, but that's still better than he got last season as a winger, and it's been a bit of a revolutionary season for Blair Spittle in the way he's changed position.
Thistle have it through McDonald, good ball up to the edge of the box looking for Gordon. That's played out for a Thistle throw in, and still we continue to make sure that Queens don't have too many chances. Jamie Snedden producing one magnificent save, and I think there's little doubt we found a goalkeeper for next season without kind of not knowing whether Jamie was not just ability wise, because we always knew he had the ability, it's whether he had the mentality, but little doubt he's got everything now, isn't he?
Yeah, I think the game time that he's had this season has really helped his development. He hadn't played any games at the championship level previously. Now he's got, I think, 10 maybe under his belt, and it's really helped him develop as a goalkeeper. His shot stopping was in doubt, but the way he's now a really calm player on the ball. He'd shown that in the reserve games and in the cup games, but to start he just had to develop that in the league action, and he's done that now.
So as it stands at the bottom of the championship, Falkirk are going to League 1 with 36 points. Queen of the South are going to Montrose on Tuesday night for the playoff. They're on 38, Alloa have 39, Dunfermline 41, Partick Thistle in 6th place on 43. We're needing a Dundee United recovery at Capello to try and turn that one around to let us finish in 5th place. Ayr United would be taking on Inverness at Ayr in the first leg of their playoff. So as things stand, we'll update that if it changes. Here at Dumfries, it's still Queen of the South 0, Thistle 2. Goals from Mansell and McDonald, the difference between the sides. Penrice, who will not want to come off during this game to complete a perfect season with a perfect record, Christopher.
Yeah, he's been one of our most consistent performers. Got a nomination for the Player of the Year award. Obviously, his first full season as a starter for Partick Thistle Football Club. Another player who has really developed over the season, like Jamie Snedden. He's becoming more and more reliable as the games go on.
Who wins the PFA first Championship Player of the Year?
That's a very difficult one. They've all had downtime in the season. Shankland and Dobie more recently, and Billy Mackay, obviously his injury ended his season early, and he had a lot of penalties, as did the other two. So I don't think there's any outstanding candidate. Safranco is probably not going to win it, I would say. He's the number 4 early Rose. But really I think it's a toss-up between the other three. But probably Lon Shankland for the buzz he created in that first half of the season.
Well, we'll see how that develops. This will get away with one there. The push on Maguire, but this will get the throw in. I think we would love to just get one more, not just to definitely put it to bed, because I think with 20 minutes left it's just about there, but just to give the fans something to really make them enjoy the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's become much more comfortable than we expected it to be. We expected it to be squeaky bum time for the whole 90 minutes, but it's not been that. We've come out and got those 2 first half goals, and it's given us that little cushion. Queen of the South, and we thought we'd be putting a lot more pressure on us. recently, but they've kind of petered out since the start of the second half where they looked decent.
There's a bit of an injury to Scott MacDonald, who's down at the moment, and we'll see how that develops. Hopefully nothing too serious. I don't think Scott will be in any hurry to come off, but hopefully he'll be okay. Sorry, George just sent me a message there that says, can you shuffle your chair a foot to the right, please? When you get excited, you pull the mixing board off the table. Oh. And then I've just told him no. But I will move, because I'm a good guy. So it's a throw in to Queens. They want a free kick. They'll get a free kick. 12 yards inside the Thistle half, left of centre. Queens trailing by 2-0. Just nothing untoward required from Thistle. Just keep the work going. I think the manager will be thinking soon about making a couple of changes and getting the flair players on for a bit of fun near the end with Fitzpatrick and Cardle, or maybe Doolan. I don't know. We'll see what the manager's thoughts. I think a lot will depend on exactly what his thinking is. The ball played into the middle. Easy save for Jamie Snedden as everybody falls down. Great thing from Thistle's perspective by not going through the playoffs, Christopher, is we can start building for next season now.
Yeah, we had that last season where we had that extra little bit to think about. It's been even worse this season because it's a 2-week difference.
Shea Gordon chases one. He'll do well to keep this in, but the best he can do is turn it out for a throw-in, and even that he fails to do as he turns it out for a goal kick. As he saves a certain goal kick and turns it into a goal kick. So just to confirm what we have said, is Stans, Falkirk are going down, and it's Queen of the South are going into the playoffs, and then Jim Goodwin's Manager of the Year nomination looks a whole lot better. Dykes tries to pressurise McGinty, but McGinty gets it out of play for a throw-in under a bit of pressure. Let's see if we get any goals of interest coming. Cowdenbeath come back in front against Clyde by 2-1, and Elgin City have taken the lead against Berwick. The question, of course, we're going to ask is, are we going to see Berwick in senior football next season, Christopher?
I'm not sure. They've had a really poor run of form in the second half of the season. Albion looked dead and buried before that points deduction thing where they got the extra points and they seem to have been G'd by that and really made a good comeback, and they're safe for the games to spare.
Thistle get a throw in, which again kills more time. We've gone 28 minutes of the second half, so 17 more of the season left, and it does look as though this season's over. Queen of the South, we're not celebrating yet, are we?
No, definitely not.
No.
One goal and we're all suddenly biting our nails a little bit. So nothing taken for granted.
They need 3, don't forget.
Yes.
Mansell is still there, gets to McDonald, good ball up to Penrice, who's very advanced and onside, cuts it back into McDonald, brought down, penalty! Scott McDonald brought down, he wins a red card as well, as he was about to shoot for goal. Darren Brownlee, the man who brought him down, and it's a yellow card for Scott McDonald for moaning too much, and Darren Brownlee, committed the foul, gets away with it. Question, who's taking the penalty?
It looks like Stuart
Bannigan. He's a good penalty taker.
He took one in pre-season actually, and he ballooned it about 20 yards over the bar.
Let's hope he doesn't do that. Stuart Bannigan then with a penalty, chance to put Thistle out of sight. It's a long time since we've had a penalty. It's a long time since we've had a penalty awarded by Dallas, that's for sure. So Bannigan against the goalkeeper, up he steps and scores! Sends the goalkeeper the wrong way and goes into the crowd to celebrate with all those masses of Thistle supporters. 1,546 of them are all celebrating with Stuart Zane happy. Oh no, Flair, how silly. I really get annoyed when that happens, especially when the warnings have all come. But it's Queen of the South, Thistle 3, that's safety secure now. Christopher?
Yes, I think we're safe to say that now. Really good penalty from Stuart Bannigan, just kept it low, sent the goalkeeper the wrong way,
and he'll take a yellow. So Thistle have won a penalty, they've got 2 players but given that Bannigan's not going to get another suspension, you don't care a job. Who knows? Yeah, quite bizarre. Thistle got a penalty and they should have had a player sent off for last man challenging about to score, and we get 2 players booked. It doesn't seem right.
Did Andrew Dallas give a yellow card to Maguire at all?
No, he gave it to McDonald.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Was it not Brownlee that brought him down?
No, it was Maguire. But even then it wouldn't have been a red card because of the new rule that was brought in.
It still says if you save a certain goal scoring opportunity,
only if you're not going for the ball.
Anyway, a chance for Queens. We're blocked. Bannigan gets it clear. Tries to prevent Queens from coming forward. With Doyle. Plays it in to Wilson, the second substitute, tries to find a way through, but this will prevent him. Bannigan wants a throw in, doesn't get it. Don't argue too much now, Stuart. You've picked up your yellow card. Long, quickly taken in. Jacobs gets the ball, tries to flick it forward, flicks it straight out of play, and a goal for Motherwell in their game against St Mirren. It's the very impressive, and I mean very impressive, David Turnbull that's put Motherwell ahead in that Premiership game. Here's one that's come in. Queen of the South 0, Partick Thistle 3.
That's not bad.
Stuart Bannigan with a penalty. So it looks all over for the Jags now. We can sum up with a bit of confidence as Gary Harkins is about to be introduced. I think that might be a wee bit of a dig against his former club somehow, and might be just for Bannigan just to avoid him starting next season with a suspension. Thistle will be a championship team next season, of that there's little doubt. Long ball played forward. Thistle will deal with it. Christy Elliott lobs the ball up in the air. I'm going to tell you something a little bit naughty. Just as Thistle do what Thistle do, I thought I'm just going to cover my backside today and back Queen of the South and Alloa, just in case I would get some financial. I'm delighted to have lost that particular bet. Delighted. Queen's come forward, good ball up, one that's then probably could have come for, but that's just the one area that he's got to work on, just his control of the box. As Gary Harkins is about to come on. Not meeting a great deal of approval. Lewis Mansell is the man leaving the field of play, and off he goes, having performed exceptionally well. Netted his first Thistle goal, timing was kind of immaculate, and Thistle have secured safety in large parts, Christopher, to his first goal and his first half performance.
Yeah, the way he played in that first half really set the tone for us, and obviously that goal was a big part of getting us off to the positive start, and we'll be delighted to sign off on this loan spell with that first Thistle goal.
So we'll just have a quick look at the league table as it stands, and anything untoward happening. I think everyone must be doing the same because my internet connection is... Oh, here we go, we've got it now. Yeah, nothing's changed. It'll be Falkirk going down and Queen of the South going into the playoffs. Alloa, of course, will be relying on Ayr United getting a goal, because if that goes in, it all changes, and Queen of the South would stay up and Alloa would go into the playoffs. So we'll be keeping a wee eye on that. I think Queens might have made a change as well. I'm not actually quite sure. I think we were too busy checking tables to see that they brought on Conor Murray. I didn't see he went off, but I don't know. We'll soon find out. I don't care. It's Brownlee, plays it forward. Good little touch from Murray, gives it to Josh Todd. Actually, I was going to say it might be Dobie because I don't see him. Into Murray again, shoots for a goal, into the terracing he goes, and Thistle will get a goal kick. And even Jamie Snedden, who's had nothing to do, one save, what a save.
Yeah, it was a massive time in the match as well. It was still 2-0 to us, so one goal there, and even though it'd still be a big task for Queen of the South, it would just put a bit of nervousness into our play and really G them up. However, we've been able to go on after that save and build on it, and we put the game to bed. So Jamie Snedden's played his part, even though he's not had too much to do really.
Not really too much to do in all the games that he's played, to be fair. McDonald tries to find a bit of an opening, ball played up in the air, little foul I thought from Anderson, but he gets away with one. He just sort of guided his opponent onto the deck. Snedden clears with the left foot, lovely ball looking for McDonald. He's going to get a chance to go one-on-one against Brownlee, tries a shot, and goalkeeper's wise to what he was trying to do from the angle, and he was able to put his body in the way of the ball and save with a degree of comfort. But I think there's not many that, other than Scott McDonald, who can do things like that.
Yeah, it was an interesting attempt. I don't think it was ever going to go in, but he didn't see too many options for himself and just took it on.
McGinty heads it forward, but picked up by Dykes, not decisively, and cleared by Christy Elliott. Lovely touch for Gordon. Blocked out, yellow card coming Queen's way, and it will be going to Toyle. I don't know what he's moaning about, and Shea Gordon's unfortunately down injured, and that's one we could have done without. He's just come back from lengthy injury, and this is a nasty one. Goal for Ross County. Falkirk 1, Ross County 2. Goal scorer for this one is Ian Vigors. I haven't seen much of him this season, so I think there's no doubts Falkirk are heading to Division 1 or League 1 now, so their season has ended disastrously, and I just wonder what Ray McKinnon's thinking tonight.
Yeah, he's obviously made a big decision towards the start of the season, and it's not paid off in any way. And the amount that Falkirk have put into him, it'll be interesting to see what they do regarding the managerial situation.
Absolutely. Just keeping an eye on Shea Gordon, who's getting some treatment off of Katie, who is hopefully going to give a clean bill of health, or it might just be that the third and final substitution will see the departure of Shea Gordon. It's had a good game today, Christopher, and you've got a man of the match decision to make in 5 minutes time, and a lot of candidates again.
Yeah, there have been a lot of really good performances out there. Scott McDonald's been excellent in the way he's linked the play. Blair Spittle set up 2 goals with really good crosses. Lewis Mansell, the effort he's put in, and him getting his goal as well. Stuart Bannigan in the midfield, I think, started a wee bit slowly, but has got better and better as the game's worn on. And Shea Gordon, the man who's just coming to the pitch now.
Hold off on that Falkirk 2, Ross County 2. Immediately equalised through McKenna in the 75th minute. So they've got 15 minutes to try and muster something and hope for things to go well at Ayr in their favour. Ball looking for Elliott, not going to get there first, but McMillan, who I thought was excellent in the first half, because he's been kind of faultless in this game. Ball played back to goalkeeper Layfield, who's had no chance with any of the goals, and he goes long with the right foot. Up goes McGinty, doesn't quite get the head on it, and Queens have a wee chance, but ball played forward now for Bannigan, who's very deep to play it forward. Not a great ball, and it goes through everybody, and I think the manager's resisted the temptation to go Cardle and Fitzpatrick and just let the game see out, although I think that's Cardle coming on now, is it?
Yeah, Cardle's just getting ready. We'll just wait for that.
Yeah, it was a poor header from Anderson, but Thistle got it clear. Here's Harkins. Fouled or slipped, one or the other, I couldn't quite see, as he gets it to other sub Slater. Slater just gives it to McDonald, gets it the return pass. Now Harkins wants to go backwards, but that route is blocked, goes forward, and Thistle all of a sudden are coming up the right hand side, but Maguire gets a clearance, picked up by Wilson, well won by Murray that picked it up, the other sub. Ball played up to McDonald, touched on to Slater. Now Harkins thought about a 50-yard shot there as it sat up nicely for him. Lovely touch from Slater to Elliott, to Harkins, looking to get it back to Slater, who's still got a chance to get it into the middle. Doesn't really ever get the cross in when he had the chance. Harkins will take the clearance, think about what he can do, goes in a wee dribble, gets past one or two, tries to find McDonald, well intercepted. Goal, Falkirk 3, Ross County 2. It's all going on there. McGee in the 77th minute, and all of a sudden they need a goal from somewhere else to save themselves, and it needs to be for Ayr. I think Ayr have got to score to keep put Falkirk in the playoff and take Queen of the South out of the playoff. Wow, it's getting exciting in the first division. Thankfully we're not involved. 3-0 up here. We want Dundee United to score twice against Morton to move us into 5th position. Imagine playing for survival on the last day and you can end up 5th. That's a weird division you're playing in. This will try to win the ball off of the substitute. That is Connor Murray. Gets the ball wide in the left. This will not really putting too much emphasis on the attack. It's now back out to Jacobs, cross to Doyle. Doyle thinks about playing the ball in, opts to go to Wilson. He turns, looks for a little hope, but there's nothing there for him, has to go back. Brownlee back to Wilson again. Gordon tries to block him, the pass is poor, picked up by Harkins to Bannigan, now to Gordon. Good play from Thistle, not really looking to take any chances, and the ball is now with Harkins, who plays a poor pass, and Thistle make a little bit of a mess of this, and eventually McGinty turns it back to Snedden. The left-footed just launches it. He doesn't take any chances. Gordon tries to steer the header, but Doyle has got the better of him. Comes to Harkins. Nice play to Bannigan, up to Gordon, can't control it. Picked up by Wilson. Wilson gets it across to the right back, Mercer. Chance for Queens to get a shot at the goal with Lyndon Dykes, but he won't, because I think that's one of the first offsides of the game from the assistants. I don't really think we've been much in the way of offsides at all today. Thistle sub, it's going to be Shea Gordon leaving the field of play to be replaced by Shea Gordon. So Shea Gordon's loan spell has been mixed because of that lengthy injury, but 4 good goals, 2 in the very first 10 minutes of his first game, and then 2 in successive games at a critical time against Ayr United have taken Shea Gordon's Thistle career to a temporary end, and maybe who knows what the future may hold. He may still have a spell at Motherwell to come, or he may very well have a chance to come back. So, Christopher, 3-0 up, we've got 5 minutes to go. Are we safe?
Yeah, I think I'm confident saying that we're safe now, and that's something I didn't think I'd be saying at any point today, even at 3-0 up. But with Derby now off the pitch, they don't really look too dangerous in the south, and we look very comfortable.
Next time the ball goes out of play, it'll be man of the match time for you, and I might even get you to. In fact, I thought Thistle wanted a throw in, but it's gone to Queen of the South. So as it stands, Falkirk down, even though they're now winning 3-2, but it'll be Queen of the South in the playoffs and Falkirk down unless something happens untoward at Somerset Park. That's the key game now, Somerset Park, where Alloa are drawing 1-1 with Ayr. I must confess I'd rather Alloa stayed up, to be honest. I'd rather have them in the league next year. So this will try to start again. Good bit of defending though from Queens, as down goes yet another Thistle player, Stuart Bannigan, who got a foot in the chest, not intentional. Wilson gets it to Murray. Murray up to the box, plays it into the middle, headed clear by McGinty. What a last month of the season he's had. Out of play, and Thistle get a free kick for a foul. Bannigan, so man of the match time, Christopher Brewery.
There have been so many candidates today. I mentioned some of them earlier. At the back, Sean McGinty and Jeremy Millen on the other side of Stephen Anderson have both been excellent, both in their forward play and their defensive play. They've done the simple stuff really well. I don't think Jamie Steddon can really come into it because he's had so little to do, but what he has had to do, he's done very well. All three of the starting midfielders have had very good games as well, as has Lewis Mansell up front, obviously getting the first goal and all the effort he put in. But I can't overlook Scott McDonald, the importance that he has to this team at the moment. His first touch has been absolutely incredible, and he's just took us up the pitch so many times and got a bit lucky with his goal, but he won't care. Also won the penalty, so I'm going to give it to Scott McDonald today.
I was going to say you picked the man who scores the lucky goal there. Here's Cardle's first touch, gets the ball into the middle, not quite getting a Thistle man, but he'll actually, I was going to say the ball was going to come back to him, but he runs over it. Goal for Hamilton. Looks like Dundee's reign is over in the Premiership. Dundee 0, Hamilton 1. Goal for Livingston in that same division. Craig Halkett, St Johnstone 1, Livingston 1, which is not good for my other coupon, I don't think. I'm sure I took St Johnstone. I was kind of quite happy with that one. Long ball clearance, up goes McMillan, just loses out there, but no real threat as Anderson then returns the ball. Thistle have got not really an awful lot in the attacking zones. Anderson slices another long ball out of play, so throw into Queen of the South. And this is what Thistle should have been doing all season to the teams around, and they just had too many draws and defeats from games they shouldn't have had. Albion Rovers 0, Annan 1, and I'm nearly going to go with that now that Albion Rovers are safe, although they're in a good run. Good bit of play from Slater, does well to win the ball. They're getting close to the end of the game, 3 or 4 minutes left. Picked up by McMillan, cross to Christy Elliott, and Elliott will just touch it out as Slater is still down on the ground. Christopher, I mentioned the man of the match. I might ask you to do something else. Man of the season, player of the year?
I think, to be honest, I'll agree with what the fans voted for. Blair Spittle for me. I think we've had a few very decent performances over the piece. James Penrice and Craig Slater have done all right. Obviously no one who's been part of this team will have been brilliant throughout the whole season, but I think Blair Spittle, some of his goal contributions and his assists, that sort of thing, and the way he's really developed into a really hard working midfield player this season, I'd have to give it to him.
Interesting, and the fans obviously agreed that the McRae Financial Services Player of the Year was Blair Spittle. Big thank you to all of you who've listened into Jagzone. I know we've had a few issues over the last couple of weeks. Hopefully it hasn't spoilt your enjoyment too much. We do appreciate it. It was far from ideal last week, missing out the whole of the first half. Something we hope to endeavour never to happen again. Hopefully you'll be back with us next year for a year in the Championship. We thank Pursuit Marketing for their sponsorship of the of Jagzone for another year, and we hope that you've enjoyed listening to myself and Christopher throughout the course of the year. Cardle plays the ball into the middle. Penrice almost got a chance to get a shot in, kind of surprised it reached him and ended up chesting it out. Hearts 0, Kilmarnock 1. Only downside to that is Gavin Wallace will be very happy, and we don't like that. East Fife 2-4 for 3, nothing really of importance in that. But the Thistle fans, and 1,536 of them here this afternoon, Christopher, tremendous turnout and support they've given the team.
Yeah, throughout the season, and especially in this final stretch, the support, the numbers have been brilliant. At home games and away games, the home numbers went up in the last month or so, and for away games the backing's been impeccable. even when we were going up to Inverness, the numbers that did come were in full voice, and it really helps the players. So I can't say thank you enough to the travelling fans.
Just stay with it as Queens try to fashion a bit of an opening down the left hand side, but they don't get very far. Maguire gets it on the halfway line, turns it to Wilson. Wilson sprayed across to Keegan Jacobs just on the halfway line. Sorry, Kyle Jacobs, wrong Jacobs, wrong brother, as Jacobs plays it forward. It goes down wide to the right to Doyle, back to Jacobs. Just going to call him Jacobs. Brownlee, Jacobs. Good chasing from Carroll, but it's still Jacobs. Forward, Bannigan intercepts, picked up now by Joe Carroll. Carroll touches it back to Penrice. Penrice across to Bannigan. Just takes a bit too long in the ball, but still gets it to Penrice. Back to McGinty. Long ball up from him to an ever chasing Scott McDonald. A big thanks to you, Christopher. I know you've had to step in sadly in my hospital times. First time in 40 odd years I've had to spend some time in hospital. It wasn't fun, but you've covered well and did a terrific job with Tam Aware in the one game I remember listening into, to the most excitable person I've ever heard in Jags Zone in all my life. Well done, Tam. And Tam, of course, will be back with us, not on Jags Zone next year, I hope, but on the pitch.
Yeah.
I just wonder how big a player he's going to be as this will look to regroup. There'll be a lot of reflections. I think his ball comes into the box, headed clear by McGinty, but I think the Thistle board have got to do a bit of reflecting, Christopher, on what has happened this year and just exactly what the best course of action to be, whether they want to, that's basically how the best approach the way to tackle next season, and that's what the board's got. Just stay with it before you give me an answer to that. The ball comes in, then just turns it out for a corner, but reflection time, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think there's been a few big missteps this season, but hopefully the board will have learned from it, and we can build again for a positive next season, because we've seen the second half of the season you can build a good team with a few key parts here and there, and if we can hang on to some of our more important players, then I don't see any reason why we can't be looking to the right end of the table next season rather than the wrong end.
11 signed for next year. I just wonder what the story will be with regards to all the loan players when they return. Is there an eye in bringing any of them back? It's too early to say. As I say, that root and branch reflections on what has been is something that's got to be sorted.
Alloa have drawn 1-1 with
It's finished, so that means Queen of the South, that means Falkirk are down, and Queen of the South are in the playoffs because they can't get any other way of unless they score 3. Yes, I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so. Elgin 2, Berwick 0 is the only other one going in. Mr. Cracker at PSG. Have they actually won the league? Yeah, I think they did, because they've drawn 0-0 again today.
Lost 3-2 to Montpellier, someone like that. They also lost the Coupe de la Ligue, I think.
Yeah. And there it is, referee Andrew Dallas blows the final whistle on the season. So once again, a big thank you to everyone for your support on Jags Zone. Big thanks to George Francis and Graham McRoberts from the media department, to yourself, to Craig Walker, and to everybody who's played a part throughout the course of the season. Thistle are safe, 3-0 victory here at Queen of the South. Lewis Mansell opening the scoring. Scott McDonald with a dead jammy goal just before half time to make it 2-0 before McDonald was brought down inside the box for a penalty, which was converted by Stuart Bannigan. So Thistle win it 3-0.